Good morning, guys. Let's start the session. Let's start the first session of Tableau. Let's start on a good note. Let me ask one question. Let's start with the question. What is data, guys? What is data? Any answers?
Data can be anything like a number, a letter, or any word.
Exactly. Any other answers?
It can be also like a form of information.
Information. So is the data and information, are these two same?
No, they are different.
So then what is the difference? Let me tell you. I'm having something like this, guys. I'm having something like this. Let's say I'm having here, let's say 1A Tableau. Okay, 2B Tableau, 3C Tableau. Request everyone to mute yourself, guys, unless we're not speaking. So I'm having something like this. So here, as I'm having something like this is called as data. If you see anything like this is called as the data. Here, what is 1, 2, 3 are here? What is ABC and what is Tableau here? There are no proper definitions for this. We can't tell exactly what these numbers are, and we cannot tell exactly what these characters are, and even we can't tell exactly what is Tableau. What is Tableau, right? So the stored representation of events and objects is called as the data. The stored representation of events and objects is called as the data. Here, one can be an event and A can be an object. If we store all the events and objects together, then that is called as the data. Or anything which is understandable by the system is known as the data. System can understand the data. Anything which is understandable by the system is known as the data. Then what is information? Then what is information? Okay, to this data, if you add some definitions to this data, if we add some definitions, then it is called as the information. Then it is called as the information. So to this data, if I add something like here, let's assume that this 1, 2, 3 indicates student IDs. ABC indicates student names and Tableau indicates codes. Okay, and Tableau indicates here codes. So this is called as the information. This is called as the information. Right. So here, what these numbers indicates is, now this 1 to 3 indicates your student IDs in this context. Here ABC indicates student names again in this context. And here Tableau indicates here the codes. Okay. Right. So now we can understand here. Okay. Now we can understand here what these numbers are, what these characters are, and what this Tableau indicates. So anything which is understandable by the humans is known as the information. Humans understands the information. Okay, so or meaningful data is called as the information. Meaningful data is called as the information. So how we got meaning to this data? We got meaning to this data after adding here SID, SNAME and codes. So here this SID, SNAME and codes, these three are known as metadata. SID, SNAME and codes. These three are known as the metadata. And you know very well, whatever the data here I have taken, the same data here I have taken. This below part indicates data. This part is called as the metadata, and the below part indicates the data. Okay, this below parts indicates the data. The combination of the metadata plus data is called as the information. The combination of the metadata plus data is called as the information. If you combine the data and metadata together, it is called as the information. This is the equation of the information. Okay, then what is metadata? You know about data. What is data? The stored representation of events and objects is called as the data, or or anything which is understandable by the system is known as the data. What is information? Meaningful data is called as the information, or anything which is understandable by the humans is known as the information. So we got meaning to this data after adding what metadata. Then what is metadata, guys? How can we define metadata? So
It is
metadata is describing our data. Metadata is describing our data. This SID is describing that this column contains all the student IDs. This SNAME is describing that this column contains all student names. This course is describing that this column contains the course names. So the descriptive information about our information system and its contents will be provided by the metadata. Repeat, the descriptive information about our information system. So in the system, if you store the information, in the system, if you store the information, with regards to the information, if you want to add any meaning, that meaning will be provided by this metadata. Here you would get one doubt. Why here we're talking about data, information, and metadata? The reason is all these are inputs to Tableau. As you were talking about Tableau, in Tableau every day what we are going to do is in Tableau every day we are going to deal with the data or we are going to deal with the information. One important interview question in Tableau is what Tableau understands. Does Tableau understands the data or Tableau understands the information or only information? Tableau can understand both ways. Tableau can understand data. Tableau can understand the information. So let me clarify all your doubts one by one. So the first question which would comes into your mind is why Tableau needs information or why Tableau needs data? Why Tableau needs information or why Tableau needs the data means Tableau is a BI tool. Tableau is a BI tool. BI stands for business intelligence. As BI stands for business intelligence, so any any business nowadays they're happening in online, okay, or in the electronic mode. So whatever the business transactions are taking place, every transaction will get stored into one backend database. What the database going to store data. So every BI tool needs some data or needs some information to give the output. So why they need information, why they need data, that we will talk with one real life example. So as Tableau is a BI tool and BI stands for business intelligence. So what exactly this BI means? If you're learning any BI tool, you need to know first of all what is exactly the BI. What is the working mechanism in BI? Why BI? You need to know those three things. So what exactly the BI would do? Okay, and why BI and where BI would help the organizations. If you want to know what exactly this BI means, let me explain with a real life scenario, guys. Let me explain with a real life scenario. So let's take one bank. Let's take the Citibank is there. Let's take the Citibank is there. Citibank is operating in 3 countries. It's operating in India, it's operating in US, it's operating in UK. Now the goal of the Citibank is, so they want to know in which country their business is going well and which country their business is not doing well. Let's assume that in India, they got 1,000 branches. In India, they got 1,000 branches. In UK also, they got 1,000 branches. In US also, they got 1,000 branches. So across the 1,000 branches in India, in US and in UK, let's say in India, they have 1 crore customers. In India, they got 1 crore customers across the 1,000 branches. These 1 crore customers, okay, let's assume that these 1 crore customers, every day they're doing 1 transaction. Okay, let's assume that on an average, every day they are doing 1 transaction per day. Let's assume that in India, on an average, 1 customer is doing 1 transaction per day. What about 1 crore customers, guys? 1 crore customers going to do how many transactions? 1 crore transactions per day. In a month, as month going to 30 days, so 30 crore transactions per month, right? So now in India, the Citibank is getting 30 crore transactions per month. Similarly, the same thing is happening in US and in UK as well. So what is a transaction, guys? What is the transaction? Transaction is the source of income for any bank. How the bank going to get the income, or how any bank going to get the revenue? So how any bank going to get the revenue means with the help of these transactions only. So as they got 30 crore transactions in India, in US and in UK, so now the Citibank want to understand. In which country they got more revenue, in which country they got less revenue, how their employees are performing, what their top 10 branches in India, top 10 branches in US, top 10 branches in UK. All these are the requirements of the Citibank. So as transaction is the source of income for any bank, how the customer is going to perform the transaction, guys? Let's assume that you are the customer of Citibank. How the customer is going to perform the transaction? Nowadays, we are doing the transaction directly from our mobiles or using internet banking, or we can go to bank, and even from the ATMs also we can do the transaction. I'm taking the widely using mechanism. Is let's assume that there is a customer from UK is doing some transaction in some ATM in UK. If any customer is performing any transaction at any ATM level means, does the customer going to enter the data or information? If any customer is doing any transaction at any ATM level means, does the customer enters the data or the customer enters the information? Any answers?
Information.
Customer's information.
If you're doing any transaction at any ATM level means what we are going to enter? Just we are going to enter what some number, the PIN number, and then you are going to enter what some other number. It means the amount which you want to withdraw. So if you're doing any transaction at any ATM level means, are we going to enter metadata and data or only the data? We'll enter only numbers like your PIN number or the amount, how much you want to withdraw. Just we'll enter only the data because system can understand the data. So if any customer is doing any transaction in any ATM system means, a system going to understand the data, we will just enter only what? We'll just enter only the data. We won't enter the information. So if you're doing any transaction at any ATM, those transactional details, it won't stores in that ATM. Those transactional details going to get stored into one backend system or into one backend database called as OLTP. If you do any transactions, all the transactions going to get stored into one backend system called as OLTP. OLTP stands for Online Transactional Processing System. OLTP stands for Online Transactional Processing System. It stores the day-to-day business transactions. Similarly, if any customer is doing any transactions from US means all the transactional details going to get stored into the all the transactional details going to get stored into one OLTP in US. So all the UK counterpart transactions are storing into the UK OLTP and US counterpart transactions are storing into the US OLTP. Similarly, if any customer is doing any transaction from the Indian counterpart, the transactional data, my words are very clear. If any customer is doing any transaction from any ATM, what the customer is entering data. So the transactional data is getting stored into the respective backend systems. So these three OLTPs, they are storing the transactional data from UK, US, and India. So here, how much amount of data we are getting? From UK, we're getting 30 crore transactions. From US, we're getting 30 crore transactions. And from India also, we're getting 30 crore transactions. At this level, what we're having, data or information is? At this level, we are having data, transactional data. What is the end goal? The end goal is Citibank management want to understand their business. How the bank is getting the business from the transactions. Right. The Citibank management want to understand their business means what? Citibank management means what? The Citibank business is managing by some people, right? As the Citibank business is managing by some people, okay, so it means nothing but the humans. So some group of individuals, okay, going to manage, or the management team going to manage the Citibank business. It means again some humans are managing the business. What humans going to understand? Does humans going to understand data or information? Again, we need to go back to our first one. Does humans going, so can we understand this or can we understand this case? In a simple
Information is
example,
can understand.
we can understand only what information. If you have something like this means we cannot understand, right? We can't get exactly these numbers, characters, right? So as humans going to understand the information, but currently the data is coming from the ATMs. So first of all, we need to convert this data into information. First of all, we need to convert here the data into information. So how to convert the data into information? How to convert the data into information? To convert the data into information, to convert the data into information, we are going to use here one mechanism called as ETL. We are going to use one mechanism called as ETL. In ETL, E stands for extraction. What ETL going to do is it's just going to extract the data from the different OLTP systems. It's just going to extract the data. The process of collecting the data is called as extraction. The process of collecting the data is called as what is extraction. After extracting the data, it's just going to place the data into one temporary location called as the staging area. It's just going to place the data into one temporary location called as the staging area. In the staging area, all the required transformations will take place. In the staging area, all the required transformations will take place. In ETL, T stands for transformation. Here, what we need to transform? We need to transform here the data into information. So in the staging area using the ETL, we are going to convert the data into information. And also, what is our end goal? We need to compare one country business with the remaining countries. So now the question is, if any customer is doing any transaction in UK means, in which currency indicator the transactions will get stored, guys? In the form of pounds. If any customer is doing any transaction in US means in the form of dollars. And if any customer is doing any transaction in India means the transactions will get stored in the form of rupees, INR. So now the transactions are coming in the three different formats, guys. As transactions are coming in the three different formats, can we compare? Can we compare if the data is there in the different formats, guys? For example, you are comparing, let's say, the two persons' height. Let's say the first person height is 5 feet 10 inches. 5 feet 10 inches. And the second person height is, let's say, 172 centimeters. Now, which person height is more? Is the first person height is more, second person height is more?
Second person.
How we can tell? Because we're comparing here this two persons height, right? For the first person, we have taken in feet, 5 feet 10 inches. And for the second person, we've taken as 172 centimeters. So how can we tell here the second person height is more? We cannot compare feet with the centimeters, right? These two are what? Two different units. If you're comparing any two objects in the world, one global principle is the unit of comparison should be same. One global principle is the unit of comparison should be same. It means if you want to compare two persons' height, we need to take the two persons' height either in centimeters or in feet. Okay, then only we can compare. Similarly, as Citibank want to compare their business in the different countries, first of all, they need to convert the complete transactions into one single format. They cannot compare by keeping them in the different formats. Now, what the Citibank want to do is, at the end of the day, as the global currency indicator is dollar, they want to compare everything in terms of dollars. How can they compare everything in terms of dollars? So first of all, we need to convert here rupees. First of all, we need to convert INR, means the rupees, and the pounds, rupees and pounds into dollars. Okay, first of all, we need to convert the rupees and pounds into the dollars. So where we are going to do this conversion again means in the staging area we can convert. So in the staging area, all the required transformations will take place, guys. In the staging area, all the required transformations will take place. So like converting the data into information and converting like rupees and pounds to dollars. After transforming the data, staging area is the temporary location, guys. It cannot keep the data permanently. Then finally, after transforming the data, we need to load the data into one permanent location. In ETL, L stands for loading. In ETL, L stands for loading. So finally, we are going to load this information. Now what we have got in the staging area, we transformed the data into information. In which format we have transformed into the dollars, right? So finally,
Yes.
after transforming the data, we are going to load the complete information into one permanent location called as the data warehouse. We are going to dump the information. Again, my words are very clear. Okay, your terminology should be in the proper state, guys. If you're learning any technology or if you're answering any entry questions, two things really matters: your terminology and your technicality. Okay, your technicality comes with the practice. Your terminology comes with reading the concepts. Right. So we're going to dump the data into one permanent location called as the data warehouse. Now this data warehouse contains the complete transactional information from India. Okay, transactional information from US and transactional information from UK. Transactional information from UK in one single format. In one single format, dollars. And overall, how many records we have got? Each country 30 crores. So overall, how many records now we are getting here? Overall, we're getting here
90.
90 crore records. So we got complete 90 crore records transactions in the form of dollars. So now, as here we got the information, so can this team understands the 90 crore transactions manually, guys?
No.
Can they understand this 90 crore transactions manually? So out of 90 crore, 30 crore from India, 30 crore from US and 30 crore from UK, right? I want to know the
Yes.
total
Yeah.
revenue from India, total revenue from US, total revenue from UK. So let's assume that I am the management person of Citibank. I want to understand the total revenue from India, US and UK. How to get total revenue? I need to add all the 30 crore transactions. So can we add 30 crore transactions manually, guys? No. Then how we can achieve that? Here where Tableau will comes into picture. Here where BI will comes into picture. So what here BI going to do is BI is just going to connect to the information at the data warehouse level. After connecting to the information at the data warehouse level, it's just going to extract the knowledge. What every BI tool going to do is every BI tool extracts the knowledge from the information. Okay. So how every BI tool going to extract the knowledge from the information means by doing the reporting and analysis. By doing the reporting and analysis. Okay, by creating the reports and by performing the analysis, every BI tool going to get every BI tool going to extract the knowledge. So then what is reporting and what is the meaning of analysis? So in BI, every day we are going to perform this reporting and analysis. So what is the meaning of reporting? Reporting is all about extracting the information from one business location. Extracting the information from one business location is called as a report. I repeat, extracting the information from one business location is called as a report. So for example, I would like to see the top 10 branches from India. Okay, top 10 branches from US and top 10 branches from UK. I would like to see the top 10 branches from India. Okay, top 10 branches from US and top 10 branches from UK. This kind of extracting the required information from one specific location. For example, this top 10 branches belongs to India. Okay, only one business location, and next top 10 branches belongs to only US. Similarly, the third one. So this kind of extracting the information from one business location is called as the reporting. Number two, analysis. What is the meaning of analysis? Comparing the business across the multiple locations is called as the analysis. Comparing the business across the multiple locations is called as the analysis. For example, the total revenue from India is okay, $10 million. $10 million. From US is $12 million. From UK is $8 million. Now, what is the variance if we compare India with US? What is the variance if we compare India with US? Minus 2 million. India have got minus 2 million less when we compare with the US. And what is the variance if we compare India with UK? It got plus 2 million. It got 2 million more. This kind of comparing the business, across the multiple locations is called as the analysis. So now what this reporting and analysis contains information. So who going to use this reporting and analysis, guys? The Citibank management will use these reports. The Citibank management will use this analysis, and they'll understand why their business is doing well or why their business is not doing well, and what are the necessary steps they have to take to improve their business, so and so on. So with the help of the reporting and analysis, the Citibank management will take the next level decisions to improve their business, whether they have to stop the business in specific location, or whether they have to change their marketing strategy, or they have to change the employees. Whatever the next step they have to take, they will take only with the help of this reporting and analysis. So the BI tool helps the organizations in taking their key decisions. So in taking their key decisions or in the decision making, BA tools going to help the organizations. It's the reason it is called as the business intelligence. It's just going to add intelligence to the business, in improving their business decisions. So now as a Citibank management going to use these reports, what these reports contains, guys? Information. What humans going to understand? Information, right? So one important interview question is, so here where the Tableau going to comes into picture, does Tableau understands the information or Tableau understands the data? What is the answer? Tableau can understand both. Tableau can understand the data and Tableau can understand the information. Where we're having information, we are having information in the data warehouse. Data warehouse always contains the subject oriented information. Data warehouse always contains the subject oriented information. So most of the times Tableau going to connect to the data warehouses. And where we got the data at the OLTP systems. So one more important interview question is, they will ask like, does Tableau directly connect to the OLTP systems or not? Okay, instead of asking data and information, they'll ask like, can Tableau connect to the OLTP systems or not? Yes. Again, the answer is yes. Tableau can connect to the OLTP systems. Tableau can connect to the OLTP systems. Okay, so it means Tableau can connect to OLTP as well as the data warehouse. This data warehouse is also called as OLAP. OLAP stands for Online Analytical Processing System. OLAP stands for Online Analytical Processing System. It helps to analyze the business, or it contains the required information to do the analysis. So it is called as the OLAP system. This complete end-to-end mechanism is called as the data warehousing architecture. This complete end-to-end mechanism is called as the data warehousing architecture. Explain data warehousing architecture. That is one of the frequently asked interview questions. That is one of the frequently asked interview question. Then you have to explain the interview question like this with an example. Okay, so Tableau is one data warehousing tool, guys. In other words, Tableau is one data warehousing tool. So in the data warehousing, from here to here, the work will be done by the ETL teams. From here to here, the work will be done by the ETL teams or ELT teams. ETL or ELT teams. So the different ETL or ELT teams available in the market are the different ETL or ELT teams available in the market are, we are having different tools available, guys. We are having ODI, we are having Informatica, we are having Alteryx, we are having Talent. So many ETL tools are there. And in real time, from here to here, the work will be done by, in real time, from here to here, the work will be done by the BI teams. BI teams. The different BI tools available in the market are Tableau is there, Power BI is there, okay, ClickSense is there, so many tools are there. So the different BI tools available in the market are Tableau, Power BI, ClickView, etc. Tableau, Power BI, ClickView, etc. Okay. So now data warehouse is the combination of ETL plus BI. Data warehouse is the combination of what is ETL plus BI. So then the definition of the data warehouse is, in fact, the best definition of the data warehouse is, data warehouse is all about converting the data into information with the help of ETL. Data warehouse is all about converting the data into information with the help of ETL, and thereby doing the required reporting and analysis with the help of BI to extract the knowledge. So if you go to any job portals like Naukri or Monster or Dice, you will find some openings like BI consultant or BI developer. So BI consultant or BI developer means your role is to create or your role is to perform reporting and analysis every day. And you will find some openings like ETL consultant or ETL developer. Then your role is to extract, transform, and load the data every day. Your role is to extract, transform, and load the data every day. Okay. And sometimes you will find the openings like data warehousing consultant or data warehousing developer. So data warehousing consultant or the data warehousing developer means You need to work with both the ETL and BI every day. As a data warehousing developer, you need to work with both the ETL and BI every day. So when you are going to get the role as the data warehousing consultant means, when we are going to get the role as the data warehousing consultant means, at least if you have worked for 3 end-to-end implementations in either ETL or BI. If you have worked for 3 end-to-end implementations on the ETL or on the BI, then you are going to get the role as the data warehousing consultant. To complete one end-to-end implementation, the average time frame is 18 months, 18 to 24 months. So implementation is one project. To complete one project, okay, the average time frame, it would be less than this or more than this. I'm talking about average. The average time frame is 18 to 24 months. Let's take 24 months for one project. What about 3 projects? 3 into 24, 72. So 72 months means how many years? 6 years. If you keep more than 6 years of experience on your resume, if you want to keep more than 6 years of experience on your resume, then you need to focus on ETL. If you're keeping less than 6 or below 6, then ETL is not required. So one common question here is, do I need to learn ETL as well or not? It's not required if you're keeping less than 6 years of experience. So in any data warehousing project, the resource allocation is, if you have one ETL developer, the same project contains 2 BI developers case. If you have one ETL developer, the same project contains 2 BI developers. Why? Because in ETL, okay, once they complete the development, they can automate the work. But in BI, we cannot do like that because reporting demands will change every day. Analysis patterns will change every day. So as the reporting demands and analysis patterns will change every day we'll get the new requirements. The reason for BI, organizations needs more members. Okay. So the bottom line is, if you see the complete data warehousing architecture here, what is happening at one end, okay, some humans are giving the input in the form of data. At one end, some humans are giving the input in the form of data. And at the other end here, some other humans are analyzing that data, okay, in the form of here information. So if you see here, the context of the humans is different. Here, the context of the human is customer. So at one end, the customers are giving the input, and at the other end, the context of the humans here is management. Management are analyzing or management are using that data. In between these two, all the things are flowing up. So here, one more important thing is, in interviews they'll ask, what are the components of the data warehouse? Data warehouse primarily contains 5 components, guys. Data warehouse primarily contains 5 components. So the components of the data warehouse are, number 1, OLTP. What is OLTP? OLTP is just storing our transactional data. As it is storing our data, it is called as a database. So OLTP stands for Online Transactional Processing System, which stores the day-to-day business transactions. And number 2, ETL. ETL is the mechanism we are using to do the data transformations. Or ETL is the mechanism we are using to convert the data into information, guys. ETL is the mechanism we are using to convert the data into information. And number 3, staging area. So in the ETL, we're converting the data into information, but to do that conversion, we need to store the data in some location. That location is offering by the staging area. And number 4, data warehouse or OLAP. After converting the data warehouse or the after converting the data into information, we need to store that information in some permanent location that is offering by the data warehouse. So the best definition of the data warehouse is data warehouse is all about converting the data into information with the help of ETL and then extracting the knowledge from that information with the help of BI. And the last component is BI. So BI is all about doing the reporting as well as the analysis. These 5 are the components of the data warehouse. Okay, this is also one more important interview question, right? And one final thing for today is the differences between OLTP and OLAP, guys. One more important interview question is difference between the OLTP and the OLAP. These two are what databases only, because OLTP is storing the data and OLAP is also storing the data, right? So then what is the difference between the OLTP and OLAP? Let's talk. Let's talk about the differences between the OLTP and the OLAP. So the differences are what is the source of data for OLTP, guys? So as these two are storing the data, what is the source of data for OLTP? From where the data is coming into the OLTP?
Customer.
If you see here, the data is coming into the OLTP in this example from ATM. What is ATM?
Yeah.
ATM is one user interface. ATM is one UI, user interface. So not only ATM, if you do online transaction from your mobile, those transaction details it won't store in your it won't store in your mobile, guys. Your mobile is just one interface to connect to the bank server. That bank server is called as the OLTP system. So any UI is the source of data for any user interface is the source of data for OLTP. What is the source of data for OLAP? From where the data is coming into the OLAP, guys? From the staging area. Okay, from where the data is coming into the staging area? From the OLTPs. So all OLTPs are the source of data for OLAP. OLTPs. Next, number 2, amount of data. Is OLTP storing the more data or OLAP storing more data, guys? Whatever the data we are having now in these 3 OLTPs, we are dumping into the data warehouse, right? So now which contains more data, OLTP or OLAP? Always the
OLAP.
data contains more data. It is a permanent storage location.
Yeah.
So amount of data is OLTP, it contains less amount of data. Okay. What about OLAP? OLAP, it contains more amount of information. Contains huge amounts of information. Okay. So as OLTP contains the less amount of data, then what is the purpose of OLTP, guys? The main purpose of OLTP is to run the business. To run the business, as nowadays everything is happening in online, to run the business, we need to store the transaction in some temporary location. The temporary location is called as the OLTP. So the purpose of the OLTP is to run the business. Then what is the purpose of OLAP? Why we are storing all the information into OLAP? To analyze the business. The main purpose of the OLAP is to analyze the business. Okay. And number 4, access. Who can access the OLTP, guys? Who can access OLTP? If you're accessing any bank ATM means you're accessing your OLTP directly. If you're accessing your online banking means you're accessing your OLTP system, guys. Any customer can access the OLTP. Who can access OLAP? Can access the let's assume that you are the customer of Citibank. Can you access the complete Citibank customers data, guys? Can we get who are all the customers of Citibank and how
No.
much how much balance they're holding in their accounts? Is it possible?
No, no.
Right. So it means who can access the OLAP? So access is any customer can access the OLTP. What about OLAP? Only the authorized persons. Only the authorized persons can access the OLAP. Okay. And number 5. Okay, processing speed. Is OLTP faster or the OLAP faster?
OLAP.
OLTP is faster. It is very faster due to less amount of data. If you're doing any transaction in your mobile or in your bank or in the ATM means how much time would it take? 1 minute, 2 minutes, not more than that, right? Whereas if you want your bank statement for last 3-4 years means how much time it would take, guys? Let's say for some personal reason you want your bank statement for last 4 years. Can we get the last 4 years bank statement in a single go? In online, we can get only for last 1 year or 2 years, not more than that. If you want for last 4 years means what we have to do? We need to visit the nearest branch and we have to raise a request consent. Then what that person will say us is that much information is not available with us. We need to get that from the main branch. It will take some time. Okay, they'll ask you to come after 1 week. So it means, okay, it is not that much faster because they have to fetch from their OLAP system. It is considerably slower due to large amount or due to huge amounts of information. Due to huge amounts of information. And next, number 3, data storage. Does OLTP stores the data permanently? No, guys, it is a temporary storage. As I said, if you're accessing your online account or if you do any transaction over the app, any app will store only last 1 year transactions, not more than that. It is temporary storage. What about all app? It is permanent storage. It is permanent storage location. So as the OLTP is the temporary storage and the entry is the last, in your current project, what is the DB size of your OLTP system? What is the database size of your OLTP system in your current project? To test your experience, they'll ask like this. So we have OLTP. We are going to configure OLTPs up to 1 TB, guys. Up to 1 TB. Whereas we are going to configure the data warehouses or OLAPs up to 2 PB, 2 petabytes. What is petabyte? 1 petabyte equals to 1024 terabytes. 1 petabyte equals to 1024 terabytes. So can we configure 1 petabyte in one single system? Usually, what is your hard disk size, guys? As everyone is using laptops nowadays, your hard disk size is how much? You'll get 1 TB or max of 1.5 TB or 2 TB, not more than that. So now we are having the laptops which can accommodate up to 2 TB, right? Then what about 1024 terabytes, guys? Can we store 1024 terabytes in one single system? Currently, we don't have the devices like that. So what we will do is we are going to configure multiple data warehouses. We are going to configure multiple data warehouses. On each and every data warehouse, what we will do is we are going to allocate like okay, here I'm going to allocate 0.25 petabytes. Here 0.25 PB. I mean, here I'm just taking only two, I mean only four. We can have more than four also. This is the data warehouse one. This is the data warehouse one. Let's assume that you're working for one organization having one PB warehouse, 1 petabyte warehouse. This is the data warehouse 2. And this is the data warehouse 3. This data warehouse 3. Again, here you have got 0.25 PB. Okay, this is the data warehouse 4. Organization is going to invest huge in their infrastructure, guys, because information is all about their money. So data warehouse 4, 0.25 PB. Okay, right now they're going to integrate these different warehouses together. They're going to integrate these different warehouses together using a concept called as clustering. And this combined system is called as the big data system. Big data is all about, as this is the buzzword now, big data. Big data is all about the integration of multiple data warehouses together. Integration of multiple data warehouses together into one single combined system. It is also called as EDW, or we'll say like EDW, Enterprise Data Warehouse. So for one organization or for one enterprise, they're going to maintain the different data warehouses. This combined system is called as the EDW, Enterprise Data Warehouse. Right. So we're going to configure here. This is only 1 PB. We're going to configure up to 2 PB, guys. So you have to tell one specific size. My data warehouse size is 1 PB or 2 PB. You have to tell them some size. Similarly, for OLTPs also you have to tell some size. Okay. So it's all about the differences between OLTP and OLAP. It's all about my today's session, guys. So all these basics you need to know before starting learning any BI tool. Before learning any BI tool, you need to know all these things. Okay, what is data warehouse? What is the data warehousing architecture? What is ETL? What is BI? Components of the data warehouse, difference between OLTP and OLAP. All these sets the platform for the effective understanding in the upcoming sessions. It's all about my today's session, guys.